Hey crafters, this is Nilton from craftofprogramming.com. I'm a senior electronic trading Java developer based in New York City. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the awesome Executor Service Framework that is part of the java.util.concurrent package that got introduced in Java 1.5. If you do not know how to create Java threads, then please see the link in the description below where I have a video about that. Also, in the description below, you will see a link to the playlist that contains all my videos about Java threads. Make sure you watch this video until the end, because at the end, I'm going to show you out of the 6 benefits, the last benefit is going to be the most probably useful benefit on the Executor Service Framework. Let's get started. Now let's talk about the most powerful and flexible option on how to create a Java thread. That's to leverage the Executor Service. Now the Executor Service is a very powerful mini framework that it's part of the java.util.concurrent package that was introduced in Java 1.5. And I don't have time to cover the entire thing. I'm going to cover it on a different video, but I just want to show you very quickly how powerful it is and some of the capabilities of the Executor Service. So this option is to use the Executor Service. Okay, and basically the Executor Service has a basically singleton here executors, where there's a bunch of factory methods that you can see, and the one that I want to use is the one that gives me an Executor Service backed by a single thread that is basically consuming tasks or runnables off of a queue. Okay, so let's just call it service, and then you basically create the service for you, and then a service you submit just like before, right? Submit and then main execute. Okay, so this is pretty much equivalent to what we've been doing before, right? We're creating our thread here, okay, implicitly, and then we submit the work, okay, just like we did here when we passed in the runnable to the constructor and we call start, or when we subclass thread class and then we overrode the run method. So let's run this. So as you see, it is happily running. Now if you're a little bit observant, you will see that the name of the thread is actually it says pool here. It's because Executor Service typically, you can use it as a thread pool, which I'm going to cover very quickly. So anyway, that's kind of the sort of the main benefits which I want to list here. So the benefit one is no need to extend the thread class, and no need to instantiate a thread object. Okay, so that's sort of the first benefit here. Now the other benefit here is that the service actually manages the thread for you. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean is that you do not have, if the thread dies, in this case here, right, or here, when you subclass implement runnable, then that's it, you're done. It's a terminal state you cannot recover. Whereas, or even if a thread throws an exception, I mean, you would have to be careful handling the exception inside your run method, but here it just does everything for you. You don't need to worry about it. For example, let's go to execute method and let me throw an exception. So for example, let's say if I equals 8 and I'm telling it to kill the thread, then let's say I want to throw a runtime exception. Okay, let's just give a message here. Okay, and let's create this flag here that I want to control, and let's just mark it as volatile, which is good practice when you're dealing with fields across multiple threads. So what I want to do is I want to execute this method with the kill field or flag set to true. So another nice thing about the Executor Service here is that it gives you a handle to the future result of the computation, right? Now, why do I want this thing here? Is because I want to basically block the main thread. Now, get here blocks the calling thread, in this case main, until I get the result back. Or if it has already terminated, then it just returns, right? So I want to wrap in a try catch I don't want it to rethrow the exception. Okay, so that's basically what I want to do. Now, what am I doing here? I'm submitting a work to the service, right? And then I want main to wait, right, until the thread finishes or terminates abruptly. In this case, because we're telling for it to die, then it will die when I equals 8, right? And then what I want to do here is I want to schedule or send another task to the service, okay? I just want to do this. All right, cool, let's do it. Okay, so you see what happens here. It executes the first time, then it threw the exception, and then it executes the second time. Okay, so that's the second benefit of using the Executor service, right? It manages the threads for you. Exceptions are thrown, it catches. If the thread dies, it creates a new one. All right, so benefit number 3 of using the Executor service is that it manages the workload for you. Workload, if I know how to type, workload for you. Now, what I mean by that, unlike the other options, right, here, you can actually submit the work or task, multiple tasks to the service, right? If the thread is busy dealing with the previous request, you can send more work asynchronously. It will just be queued and then the thread is going to service when it's done. So let me demonstrate here for you. So submit, let's just say, let's use a different type of task here. Let's say the thread is going to, I don't know, let's just sleep for, I don't know, like for 1 second. All right. And then let's just say I want to print something. Let's say I want to print task 1, for example, task 1. All right. So that's kind of what I want to do here. And obviously I need to handle surround by try catch. Okay. Something super simple. Right, so that's kind of what I want to do, and I want to show you that you can do this multiple times. So let's say I'm going to do this 3 times, and this will be task 2, and here will be task 3. And obviously I don't want to do this code here. Okay, right, and I don't want to kill the thread. Well, it doesn't matter, I'm not executing the execute method. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm showing you that you can submit, you know, many tasks to the to this single background thread. And it will just execute it for you. Okay, so let's demonstrate. So task 1, task 2, and task 3, right? So it did all of that stuff for you. So benefit 4, right? The work or the task or work, right, is not hard coded. Okay, now what do I mean by that? So notice that on the subclass example here, right? The what that thread does, right, it's kind of hard coded in it, right? It's there. Whatever you implement in the run method, it's statically defined, and that's what the thread would always do. With the runnable option, right, where we instantiate the thread class, it's a similar situation. Whatever you pass to it, that's what that thread will do, right? Whereas here you can clearly see that because this thread, right, is actually consuming tasks off of a queue, then it's quite flexible, you know, between, say, quote unquote request submissions, right, or task submissions. I can pass different things, right? In here I told it to print task 1, here task 2, task 3. So between tasks or invocation submit method, you can pass whatever you want. So it's much more flexible. All right, let's continue here with the benefits. Benefit 5 is that you can use a callable or a runnable. Okay, so let's see what is the difference between a callable and a runnable. I have a runnable here, and let's look at the callable. Okay, let's split and move. Okay, so see, a runnable is basically an interface that has one single abstract method with no, you know, doesn't throw any exceptions and returns void. A callable is similar, but it allows you to throw a checked exception and it returns a type. It returns something right back to you. So let's go back here to our main method. Let me just close this because I don't need it. All right, so how would I use that? Well, the call is always the same, right? You just do service.submit, right? But notice that submit method here can also accept a callable, right? So that's kind of what I want to do. So to do that, let's convert the execute method. So remember, the method is actually being used by this runnable and thread example. So let's just throw a checked exception, okay? And let's make it return an int, okay? And the int that I want to return is going to be, it could be the int that this thread is computing here, okay? So it's initialized at that, and let's return I, okay? Awesome. So obviously these guys here are, let's just comment these guys for now, because that's fine. Okay, so notice what happens now. If I call main execute, right, notice what's happening here. Now it's matching the callable. Why? Because again, the method now is throwing a checked exception and it's returning an integer, right? So the cool thing, like I said, when you submit work to an executor service is that it gives you back the result of the future computation, right? And before I use it so that main would wait for the task to complete, but here is where you can really see the power of it, right? If I grab the result here, right, then what I can do is I can print the result to system out, right? So let's do that. I don't know, let's just call result equals, and that's my result, result.get. Okay, and usually, as usual, let's just surround it with try catch, and let's print the message for now. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to submit the work using a callable instead of runnable, and then I'm going to block main here waiting for the result, and then when the result finishes, the result is going to be returned back to main, which is going to print it that. So let's run this. So you see the thread is done executing, and then bang, result 43 is printed. Okay, so that's another benefit of the executor service. Notice that I could have also gotten the exception back from execute, right? So recall that execute here, if I tell it to kill, it's going to send me an exception, right? So let's actually ask it to die, and what I want to do, I want to call that, and I want to print the exception. Okay, see the exception, I got the exception back and I printed. So now let's talk about the last benefit of the executor service. So many benefits. Benefit is it's easy to introduce a thread pool, right? How easy is that? Well, you just grab the executors factory method here, and you just change it to a new, there's a bunch of methods here, but the simplest one is the fixed thread pool, and you give a number, which is the number of threads inside that pool. And again, let's keep the service here, and notice that the call is exactly the same, nothing changes. Submit, right, main execute, and let's do it a few times, right? And that's that, right? So I've just changed the factory method, but the service, the interface, the API of the Executor is the same, right? It's completely transparent to me, the user, whether there is 1 thread or 100 threads. So let's run this for you to see what's going on here behind the scenes. Actually, let's submit 4 tasks. So local this stuff 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know there are 4 threads running, and you can see here that stuff is printed 4 times, right? So that's really super cool way. Alright, if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Also hit that notification bell and subscribe, because I publish videos here frequently. So the next step is to understand Java thread attributes, and in particular thread groups. Click here to watch that video.